Well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to this is actually the first weekly outlook of 2019 officially, guys. So last week was the 30th. We were just catching the tail end of 2018. So on that note, I hope you guys had a really good 2018. I hope you guys were able to plan some goals and plan out and get a good head start on 2019. I hope you guys are already crushing those goals and sticking with those goals. I'm so excited to see where 2019 brings all of you guys, brings myself, brings this group. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If you guys are here for your first time, welcome. My name is David Schinkel. I'm the CEO and founder of Positive Traders. And if you're going through my YouTube right now, you'll see a collection of about 100 videos. I've been doing these weekly outlooks for over 2 years now. If you guys are watching live right now, or even if you aren't watching live and you're just watching this recorded, do me a huge favor and press the like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. When you like this video, it helps with the algorithm to get it to more people on YouTube. So, we're able to share this information with more people because there's not a lot of people that will just give out this type of information for free. And I don't charge for these weekly outlooks. It's free for you guys to hop on every single week and get this information from me. So with that being said, do not take any of this information that you guys hear today as financial or investment advice. It should just be used for educational, informational purposes only. And just to give you guys a couple updates before we jump into the economic calendar and then move into the charts, I just want to give everybody an update. I've been getting messaged on a daily basis, tons and tons of messages asking when's the course going to be ready, when's the course. I know I had to push it back from the 1st. Unfortunately, when I got back from Thailand on the 23rd, from being in Thailand for 2 months, my body was extremely jet lagged in between the New Year's, the holidays, jet lag, and relocating from Los Angeles to Phoenix, where I am currently. And I'll be here settled for the next year. I just was not able to get around to finishing and just be in that focused mindset to finish the videos. So literally tomorrow, I just got my keys yesterday, moved into my brand new place. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you got to see a little bit of sneak peek of this place. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm way up in the sky, crazy balcony looking over everything, and I signed a 1-year lease. So I'm officially settled in Arizona for the next year. I'm excited to bring you guys some super high quality content. I went out and bought myself a super expensive camera when I was out in Thailand, and so I brought that back with me, of course, and I'm excited to bring some more content to this channel. So make sure you're subscribed if you are not already. But as far as the course goes, the 15th, guys, mark it on your calendars, get your money right, tell your friends, family, neighbors, whoever else is interested in learning this information from me. For those of you guys that don't know much about me, I've been in the Forex markets for over 5 years now. I've been trading full-time for 3 years. I've been running Positive Traders for over 2 years. And it's obviously gone really well. Those of you guys that follow me on social media and have seen my lifestyle dramatically change because of trading over the past couple of years, it's been a big blessing. And now it's to the point where I'm really focusing on account management. So one of my big goals for 2019 is by December 1st, 2019, my goal is to be managing 8 figures combined between right now I have about 400 personal clients that I trade for through a MAM account, and I also work for a firm based out of London trading their private equity and work with a couple other private investors as well. So that's my big goal. That's a really big personal goal of mine, to get to 8 figures in account management across all the different platforms that I manage with, and really just start to create a name for myself and be recognized, by institutions and things of that nature. So let's jump into things, guys. Big thing, if you guys are watching this for the first time, keep in mind, even though I am a professional trader, even though I do this for a living, I only have a win rate of about 50 to 60%. I don't win all of the trades that I enter, yet I'm still profitable, and that's because I'm very strict with my risk management and risk to reward, and that's very important that you guys keep that in mind, that just because I say something or I have a bias or a directional bias on a pair doesn't always necessarily mean that it's going to come true. Now, it does come true a lot, and it does happen quite a bit, but I still am not a perfect 100% trader. And that's another goal of mine, is that as every single year that goes by, I try to become exponentially, and it has definitely proven and happened over the past 5 years. I get exponentially better every single year that goes on. So let's jump into things. But the course, by the way, I didn't even say, is the 15th, guys. So the 15th. So that's right now is the 6th for most of you guys watching this right now. So in 9 days, the course releases. So that's not this coming Tuesday, but next Tuesday, the course is dropped. It's going to go public. And for the first 100 people, the course is going to be $299. So I truly believe that the information inside of my course is literally worth thousands. And I mean, it's pretty much priceless information because you can take it and create yourself a fortune, turn your laptop into an ATM essentially, and learn these skills for yourself. Granted, I want to be very upfront with you guys and very transparent with you guys that I do not want any of you guys listening to this right now to just think that boom, you can just buy this course, go through it, half-ass it, and at the end of it, you're going to become some professional trader. No. For you to become a professional in the Forex markets, you need to put in the sweat equity, okay? I can hand you the information and show you what has worked for me, but to be very transparent with you, what has worked for me may not necessarily work for you. So that's why I don't feel justified charging thousands of dollars for information or thousands of dollars for this information because I know that it's not going to work for everybody. So I want to make it a good price where literally anybody can afford it. Even people like on a 9-to-5 work, living on paycheck to paycheck, over time will be able to put money aside to be able to afford something like this. And then it is up to you to take the information that you learn inside of this course and put it to use. So there's a lot of different ways, literally hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of ways to profit in the Forex market. So what I'm showing you in this course is what has worked for me personally, and I have a track record to prove it. So but let's jump into things. So the economic calendar. So just to touch base really quickly on last Friday, we saw NFP come out. So we saw non-farm payrolls hit last Friday. It was the first Friday of January, giving us some data, the results for the moves in December. So we saw, actually, if you guys look at the charts, which we're going to look at Euro USD in just a moment, which I think is a good chart to look at as an indicator for non-farm payrolls, we initially did see the US dollar strengthen, right? If you guys, well, let me just very quickly switch over to Euro USD. Let me drop it to the 1 hour candle. And this is actually right here. We're looking at the 1 hour chart on Euro USD, and this is from Friday. So initially on that move, we did see, because we saw non-farm payrolls much better than expected. We saw the estimate was supposed to be at 179,000. We saw it come out at 312,000, which is pretty common generally towards the holidays. We'll see employers obviously hire a lot of people, right? Seasonal jobs of that nature, expecting the holidays and Christmas time, New Year's time to be a lot busier. So it's not surprising that we saw a really high number in terms of the actual NFP number. We did see average hourly earnings go up 0.1% higher than expected, so that's actually 0.2% higher than the previous number. And unemployment rate did go up by 0.2%, but overall, and I've mentioned this multiple times before, if you guys know, all three of these readings come out when NFP comes out. And in my opinion of what I've found in looking at the data, generally speaking, average hourly earnings tends to have the biggest weight of these three, with unemployment rate being the lowest. So even though unemployment rates came out worse than expected for the US dollar, we saw the actual non-farm employment change crush the expectations, as well as the average hourly earnings higher than the expectations. So that created a lot of strength on the US dollar. We saw Euro in that in turn created some selling pressure on Euro USD, right, with that buying pressure on the dollar. Or we can just look at the dollar index, right? We can see the dollar index, which is the opposite of Euro USD, rose. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, well, why did it drop? Well, if you're following along and you're paying attention and you're actually looking at everything that's going on, we did see Mr. Jerome Powell, who is the chairman of the Federal Reserve, speak about 2 hours after the actual NFP come out. And we could see, if you guys read anything about the speech or read any of the commentary or any of the excerpts of the speech, it was back to kind of a bearish tone for the dollar. So that's why we saw the dollar index come back down, and we saw Euro USD spike back up. And this is, I was telling actually my students on one of the webinars, if you guys don't know, for my students, which currently my student group is closed. I'm not accepting any more students at this time. That's another thing is I used to have it just open free for all, but throughout this year, it's just going to be some limited times throughout the year that I'll open it up, probably 3 or 4 times throughout the year I'll open up. So it won't just be public. But for my students, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I do a webinar for them. I believe it was not just Wednesday's webinar, but mostly Thursday's webinar, the webinar before NFP. I recommended them, and this is if you are a student listening to this, you guys can testify to this, that I did say I don't recommend trading NFP because it's not always just as simple as boom, easy money made. A lot of times we can see price whipsaw, especially if you're chasing the after move, right? Especially if you're taking a sell at these lows down here after the news, just because you're let's say you take a sell on Euro USD, right? Because let's say you want to have that quote unquote conservative approach to trading non-farm payrolls, right? So you don't necessarily take a trade before non-farm payrolls. You wait until after and see what the results are. So that hour closes very bearish for Euro USD. You see on the charts that that average hourly earnings came out very good for the dollar. The non-farm pay, the NFP report, the actual non-farm employment change came out very good for the US dollar. So your plan is to just short Euro USD and not look at it for the next couple days, or even the next couple hours, and then you totally disregard that Mr. Jerome Powell is speaking, and you don't have any pressure on that. And obviously that is a speech, right? That you can see right here. That's not data based. It's speech based. It's what his sentiment is on the market and what he says on the market. So that obviously you have no way to predict that at all, unless you are Jerome Powell himself, or probably a close associate with him who he's probably told already or gone over what he's going to say. There is no possible way that you as a retail trader is going to know what his bias is going to be. And then you see something like this happen where price whipsaws and comes right back to where price is at before price even opened. So, this is a perfect example of why I don't trade NFP. All right. But to get into, just to kind of fast forward, I just want to do a real quick recap on NFP. But to give you guys, to fast forward a little bit and go into this week. This week, there's still not a ton of high impact news. There is still some key things to watch. On Wednesday, we do have a Bank of Canada rate statement for the Canadian dollar. Okay, it looks like they are going to be raising interest rates, and that is pretty much priced in. It's pretty interesting is. Louis, one of the co-founders of Positive Traders, or the other co-founder of Positive Traders. There's no other co-founders. It's just I founded it and Louis helped me found it. And he lives in Canada. And it's funny, he actually got a letter in the mail from his bank saying that his interest rates on his credit card was going up, right? Long before any of this happened. So you can kind of already see that retail banks, which get their money from central banks, are already it's kind of already flowing down that ladder, that retail traders are already starting to that retail banks are already starting to see the effects, or show the effects of this overnight rate statement increasing by central banks. So kind of interesting to see all this happening and playing out. But I would expect the Canadian dollar to continue to strengthen on the rate hike. We have some meeting minutes. Okay, so meeting minutes happens 8 times a year, guys. You can actually see right here, frequency scheduled 8 times per year. So we're seeing the first meeting minutes of the year on Wednesday as well. There's also Mr. Jerome Powell speaking on Thursday. And then we have month-over-month GDP for the pound. This is going to come in and play a key role for students of Positive Traders and those of you guys that are connected to my MAM account, because we are actually in a trade. We are actually in our first trade of the year right now. So there's a couple other high impact news on, we have some PMI for the US dollar tomorrow. We have some trade balance for the Canadian dollar on Tuesday. Thursday evening, there is some retail sales for the Australian dollar. Those things I'm not really looking at too much. Even the CPI on Friday, I'm not looking at too much for the US dollar. It's more so some of the bigger things like Mr. Powell speaking on Thursday, the meeting minutes on Wednesday. We'll see what the Fed has to say about the rate hike and if it was appropriate, and that should definitely give us some direction for the US dollar. And then, of course, the the Bank of Canada interest rate decision, okay? So let's look at the charts. I do first and foremost want to look into USD CAD, okay? Because, guys, if you don't believe me, watch last week's weekly outlook. I said I was bearish on USD CAD. I said I would like to be looking for a sell. This is at the very beginning, before this pair ever even dropped. There's a lot of factors that I went over of why I was looking at USD CAD to drop. I'm not here today to go over the past. I'm here today to go over the present and the future. So if you wish to watch that, go just watch. It's probably in your recommended right around this video, and just watch last week's weekly outlook. Okay, that was from the 30th to, when is that? Let's see, whichever one is dated the 30th to the 4th. Okay, the 30th of December to January 4th. That's when I went over. And now we can see literally, we called that at the top, and now USD CAD is trading like 250 pips lower, actually almost 300 pips lower, like 280 pips lower than where it was last Sunday. And I would still expect, let me just kind of clear everything off really quickly so you guys can get a good idea, a good look on USD CAD. There is no reason why you should be looking to buy USD CAD. Let me just put it that way, okay? If anything, also for those of you guys that are students and get signals from me, if you're a student or if you're connected to my MAM account, most likely we're going to be looking for some type of intraday or intra-week trade or even a scalp on USD CAD this week. I think there should be some very good opportunity for a couple more 100 pips to the downside this week alone. I think overall USD CAD easily can drop well over 1,000 more pips to the downside. Okay, we should see a similar drops like we did early last year. That was about a 1,500 pip drop, so we should see about another 1,500 pips dropped on USD CAD. Very strong bearish engulfing candle. If you guys have read the book Naked Forex, this is actually a pattern called the Big Shadow, and this is definitely just very strong signs of a bearish candlestick formation, in that we should see more downside on that US dollar weakness and Canadian dollar strength. So that would also, we also have technical backing with this trade, because what did we just look at with the economic calendar? Well, we just looked at the Canadian, the Bank of Canada, I always want to say Canadian, Bank of Canada raising interest rates. So very good chance that we're going to see USD CAD continue to dip. Looking at the dollar index. So guys, dollar index, Euro USD have literally just not been moving much at all the past couple months. Pretty much since the end of October, this is the weekly chart on the dollar index, we have not really seen any movement on the dollar index. It's pretty much just been in consolidation. Now, I've been calling for a while. You can actually see right here. See dollar index weakness coming. When was this? This was back at the end of November. So over a month ago, almost a month and a half ago, I already called downside on dollar index. If you're interested, go look at my trading view. It's just my first and last name, David Schinkel. You can go through all, you can even see all of my trading view outlooks on there. One that I'm really proud of from last year, I'll just very quickly go over it because I love showing this one, is I called this whole rally on USD CAD buy, right? We marked off the 134 zone. We called this buy zone. This was in September of last year before that strong rally. And then boom, we saw USD CAD rally. It went actually much higher than our target, but now it is starting to come down. And that's what I like to see. I expect it to move lower. So that's USD CAD. AUD USD, I want to look at AUD USD for a moment. I am definitely starting to look for more buys on AUD USD. Really strong double bottom, crazy flash crash last week, guys. Actually, just to take a second and talk about the flash crash, I'm sure most of you guys saw it. We saw pound yen drop like 600 pips. AUD USD, I think, what is this, like almost 400 pips that it dropped? No, about 300 pips that it dropped. Crazy moves. AUD USD went and broke, and these all happened within like an hour, 2-hour time window. We saw it break actually multi-year lows, so we saw it break the 2016, 2015 lows, which we had some demand around here. And we can definitely see this demand zone holding up. So I would say USD CAD sells are definitely intact this week. USD CAD buys, let me restart. USD CAD sells are definitely intact this week, and AUD USD buys are definitely intact this week, as well as Euro USD. I'm really still more so on the sidelines because I'm not interested in the dollar index, but I think we're going to begin to see Euro USD find some strength as well, as long as the US dollar continues to weaken. That's kind of it as far as, just to kind of briefly touch on pound yen. Like, guys, that's a massive drop on the 1 hour, 600 pips in 1 hour. And those of you guys that are paying attention, especially if you're a student on one of my daily webinars, pound yen, I've been bearish on pound yen since the end of November. Since December opened and we saw this major, and this is why, guys, you guys see all of this analysis I'm doing on the weekly outlook. I'm either looking at the weekly or the daily, or in this case, the monthly as well. The monthly, the weekly, and the daily. Like, you can become a successful trader. You can find a way to manage multi-hundreds of thousands, multi-millions of dollars, and make yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in the Forex market by just focusing on the higher time frames, okay? I'm not a big fan of scalping. Will I take a scalp here and there? Will I take a day trade here and there? Absolutely. I think it's good to be versatile in your trading, but to kind of just diverge for a second and talk about it. Like my goal of becoming a successful forex trader, and what my goal always has been and always will be, time freedom. And I think a lot of you guys can agree with that as well. You're probably here because you want to have a better life for yourself, and not just that, but to be able to spend more time doing things that you love, whether that's spending time with your family or spending time doing different hobbies or traveling the world. I just literally just settled in Tempe, Arizona after a year and a half of traveling the world. The past year and a half, I've gone to I've lived in Australia for 6 months. I just got back from living in Thailand for 2 months. In between that, I was in Central America for a month. And then I've gone all over the U.S. in between those times as well. I've gone to China. Um, where else have I been? China, Hawaii. That's a part of the U.S., but I spent some time in Hawaii. Like I've done it, guys. I mean, granted, I'm only 25 years old. I'm going to continue traveling the world. I have not gotten to Europe yet, or really any big parts of South America yet. Those are obviously on the list for the upcoming years. But I'm good. I was bit by the travel bug. I traveled. I did my thing. I experienced the world. My eyes were opened, and I am ready. My 2019 is my year to settle down, really stay in one place for a majority of the year, and just grind, and really just I got really comfortable making multiple six figures the past couple years, and now this is the year that I want to break seven figures, and I'm going to break seven figures. So, and the way I'm going to do that is by continuing to stay consistent with my returns for my investors and upping, and just gradually as time goes on, every month that goes on, I get more and more investors, and I'm able to leverage social media with that as well. And then obviously I obviously trade my own trading account. I have business based off of trading as well, Positive Traders. So there's a lot of different ways that I'm able to leverage. Also, something I had said a couple weeks ago, this is still in the works. It's not going to happen overnight, but I am working on getting my own my own brokerage built this year as well. So more information will come on that, but it's going to be a fully regulated broker. And it's awesome, guys. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can leverage just Forex, right? Like having 5 or 6 different streams of income just from Forex trading. Then I'm able to take that money and put it in other things, real estate, whatever else I want to do. So, yeah, not to diverge too much, but yeah, that's just some things to, just the whole premise of what I'm trying to say is I've literally built everything that I've done primarily off of higher time frame trading, right? There's definitely been some months and some times here and there where we've focused more on the day trading side of things, and I focused more on like the day trading / scalping side of things, but it's very like mentally draining to sit in front of your computer for 12 hours a day. Like I don't think there's anybody out there that can tell me that it's actually fun to sit in front of your computer for 12 hours a day, having to have having to have the TV on, Bloomberg or whatever, and having a million different charts and have like that high stress. I am not about that. I am about getting in a couple very high opportunity, so high probability trades where it's very low risk for the opportunity for very high reward. Take the trade, set my stop loss, set my take profit, use 1 to 2% risk, shut my laptop, and go live my life doing what I want to do. And that's what I like to do. If you're out there looking for somebody that's like high volume of trades, taking 100 trades a month up and down, that is not me, guys. There's people out there that do that, but that is not me. All right. Like I said at the very beginning of this, with my course, I'm teaching you guys, and obviously what I teach you guys on here also is what works for me. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be what you like or what's going to work for you. So just something to keep in mind, that this is what works for me. Like I don't have to do these weekly outlooks for me to make a living, right? These are completely free. I do these out of the goodness of my heart to help you guys and try to open up your guys' eyes that I'm literally a high school dropout that just took this seriously, committed for a couple of years, and got good at it, right? To cut out all the other distractions, I observed the masses, and I did the complete opposite of what the rest of the masses are doing. I'm not in the business of flipping accounts or telling you that you're going to turn $1,000 to $100,000 this year. Like that would be 1,000% return, which is actually, I'm sorry, that would be like 10,000% return, 1,000 to 100,000. That's not realistic returns. Like you would be considered literally the greatest trader that ever lived. And I'm sorry, like I don't mean to break anybody's hearts on here, but I'm even saying to myself, I'm not going to be the greatest trader that ever lived, and probably neither will either of you guys. So, stick with what works, and You could even go to say, like, you think, like, if you want to be someone like Warren Buffett is not the greatest trader in the world. George Soros, not the greatest trader in the world. But are they still multi-billionaires because of investments like the foreign exchange market? Absolutely. Have they been able to leverage those skills? Absolutely. So just some things to keep in mind, guys, that you don't need to be the best trader in the world to make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, billions of dollars, whatever your goal is to do with Forex. But have a goal too. USD Singapore dollar, I've been calling this pair for a while, guys. I've been calling a short for a very long time. If you've been watching my outlooks, if you've been just following me, whether you're in my group or just in the free group side of things, watching my weekly outlook, I've posted USD Singapore dollar. I've talked about this pair literally since price was back in like where my cursor is, somewhere around here. I know between like the September, October time, I've been looking for shorts on this pair. I've really been on me personally, as far as entering this trade, been on the sidelines because of the dollar index, and this pair has a very strong influence with the dollar index, and I'm really just kind of on the sidelines with the dollar index right now. I have more interest in something like USD CAD or whatnot, but or AUD USD even. But that is that. CAD yen, guys. I just want you guys to observe something, that there's a very good opportunity for I think some intraday, intra-week, even maybe some long-term buys on CAD yen this week. I just want you to observe this, right? I mean, just looking at simple, basic price action where we have a triple bottom forming, major demand zone, and just a crazy long wick, right, from the flash crash. If any, like this, to me, this chart, in my opinion, is screaming you can probably squeeze some buys out, whether that's a short-term buy, a long-term buy, a medium-term buy, whatever it is. There should be some opportunity for buying in here. For me personally, I'll probably look at like the lower time frames. There may be one or two intraday or intra-week trades for you guys, for those students that are listening to this right now. Okay. By the way, if you guys have any questions for me, we're starting to get to the end. Gonna go over a couple more pairs, but if you have any questions, whether it's about trading, me personally, like literally anything, I'm an open book for you guys. If it's a question, a valid question, obviously I will answer it. So take some time. If you have any in the chat right now, write the question. That's also, if you're listening to the recording right now, that's a really good thing about being on here live. I'm very, very busy, guys. Obviously, I just moved in. I'm settling in. I have the videos to do this week, or to finish off the videos so I can get the course released by the 15th. So I don't have time to sit on YouTube and reply to everybody's comments all day long. So if you are on the live chat, you have obviously that little like upper hand of anybody else that's just watching the recording, because I'm going to answer your question live, and I'm real, I'm right here. It's not just text on a screen. So even if you're watching the recording, though, if you have a question, type it down below and I'll find some time to get to it. Okay. So that is CAD yen and GBP NZD. So GBP NZD, when you first look at this on the weekly, you might think sell. Okay, you might think sell because it's getting to an area where we had a top originally back in May of 2017, and then we had a lot of support in this area throughout late 2017 and early 2000, even to the middle, even to June of 2018. Strong level. That's this level that we have marked off with the blue right now. And a lot of people would think, okay, it's at a strong resistance zone, and also based on last week's candle, I can definitely see the argument for some potential sells. But if we drop it down onto the daily, I still see buying pressure on this pair. A lot of it has to do with pound strength, right? I'm actually looking at, I didn't even have this marked off, but pound dollar. Let me actually mark off pound dollar very quickly. Pound dollar is another pair, just like with Euro USD. And if you guys are wondering, by the way, the reason this is marked off in purple right here is because I'm actually already in this trade, and the red, it means pairs that I am interested in. So pound dollar, I'm also interested in upside, just like I'm interested in upside with Euro USD and the positive correlation that they have to each other. And with that, we should also see the pound rise as well. So I mean, if we see pound dollar rise, we should see pound NZD rise as well with that pound strength. But we have a nice bull flag on the daily. I'm not sitting on this live webinar to get into every single detail of why I am in a buy on this pair, but I am in a buy. It's a swing trade for me, so I'll leave it at that. As much as I would love to just give it out to you guys for free and tell everybody on here where my stop loss and where my take profit is, there's a reason my students pay for my time, and my students are my students, right? That stuff is reserved for them. So if you're a student, go check the student Telegram. The signal is posted. It was posted about 40 minutes ago. So Pound NZD, I'm expecting more upside on this pair. We should see it rally this week, as well as a lot of the other pound pairs, and that is pretty much it. I haven't gotten a chance. If you're a student, you heard me on my weekly outlook. I'm sorry, not on the weekly outlook. On the Thursday webinar, I said that I was going to go over every single pair and go over all of them. Not on the weekly outlook. I didn't say I was going to do that. I just said I was going to do it before the weekly outlook. I have not gotten a chance to do that yet. For those of you guys that obviously probably caught on, I moved to Tempe, Arizona. On January 1st. I was supposed to get my keys to this place on the 1st. They weren't done cleaning it and getting it ready because it's a really big place, and I had to wait until the 5th. So I literally just got my keys yesterday, just finished moving in. My bed got delivered today. I have all my other things getting delivered over the next couple weeks here, so I'm slowly starting to get settled in and moved in. So that's obviously taken up a bit of part of my life, is getting settled in and getting comfortable, so that way I can get in a flow state or easier to get into a flow state to just whether it's providing content, doing the daily webinars with you guys, the weekly outlook, finishing up this course, whatever it is, Forex related, business related. I want to make sure I am comfortable. That's one big thing, just to kind of diverge from trading for a minute, guys, is to make sure you're in a comfortable setting, right? Your environment has a lot to do with your productivity, right? If you're in an environment that you aren't comfortable in, then you probably aren't going to be very productive, right? But if you're in an environment where you can vibe hard, and I mean, it should be pretty simple to understand, right? It's very like easily psychological to understand, psychologically able to understand, or you should be able to understand that you need to be in a good work environment to be able to be very productive. So very important. But I'm gonna see the questions that we have right here really quick. El Cumbia says, did you already invest in real estate and received some good cash flow? I am invested in real estate, but it's very small cash flow. I'm just diversifying my money. In my real estate investment, I'm earning about about 35 to 70% ROI per year. So it's actually pretty lucrative. Another one is 15%. So it just depends on what I'm invested in, but that's not something that I like bank on like to pay my rent with or anything like that. I have other way. I mean, that's long term for me. Steve asked, would CAD news help a buy? Absolutely. I mean, if the Canadian, why did I keep saying Canadian? If the Bank of Canada raises interest rates, more than likely over time we're going to see, and this would be more for a long-term perspective with something like USD CAD or CAD yen, that we should see the Canadian dollar appreciate. Just a little hint for you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of times, write this down. This is some nuggets right here, guys. This is like super nuggets right here for you to understand like market flow in general. That Canada tends to follow what the US does. Okay, so what happened in December? We saw the Federal Reserve, the Fed, raise interest rates. So what are we seeing happen in January? The Bank of Canada raising interest rates as well. So just a little tidbit of nuggets for you guys. Nicholas asked, were you in LA right before? Yeah, I got back from Thailand on December 23rd, and then I was in LA for a couple days. I spent New Year's in San Diego, in La Jolla, and then I shot over to Phoenix, where I am right now. So, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, I'll share, once my place gets a little bit more situated, I'll share with you guys where I am. Absolutely gorgeous view, way up in the clouds, crazy balcony, crazy view, tallest building in like all of the area that I'm in, literally this entire city that I'm staying in. So crazy to see, crazy blessed to see where my life has been at. There's like a time and a point like 3-4 years ago, I was living in like a 1-bedroom apartment paying $600 a month. Now I'm paying almost $3,000 a month. So it's crazy to see how the lifestyle changes. But I'm not a big advocate of like spending. Just make sure you're in a good environment, reinvest your money, spend your money wisely, and that's super key. You'll get very far ahead. I actually know somebody that has made a multi-million-dollar wealth off of a $50,000 year job, and it's just because of the way that they budgeted their money and kept, they were just smart with their money, right? They lived on like a broke budget. Even when you're making $150,000 a year, if you want to save that money and exponentially grow your money, you need to act like and live like you're pretty much broke. So, just because you make the money doesn't mean that you need to spend it. Very key, okay? Andrew says, message me on Facebook. Okay, yeah, if you guys message me on social media, I will get to you guys as soon as possible. I have a lot of messages to go through, especially the past couple days just moving. Haven't really been on social media or just even my computer or like any electronics, just been focusing on moving in for the most part. But Guys, that concludes today's weekly outlook. I hope you guys have a very good idea of what I'm looking at trading. Please do me a huge favor. There's a bunch of you guys watching this right now, so I expect to see a bunch of likes on this video. I would hope to see a bunch of likes on this video because, like I said, I want to blow up this channel, and that's a big goal of mine also, is to really grow my YouTube exposure this year. And by you guys smashing that like, you might not think that it means a lot, but it does mean a lot, and it helps the algorithm to get this information out to more and more people, put it in people's recommended areas. So please smash the like button, whether you're watching this live or the recording. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media. Students, I'll see you guys tomorrow on the daily live webinar, and I'll see the rest of you guys next week. And don't forget the 15th, guys, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. First 100 people to get my course, I'm going to be doing it for $299. I'm going to kind of reevaluate afterwards, see how you guys like the information, see how you guys value the information, and go from future pricing it there. But that is the lowest price the course will ever be, is $299 for the first 100 people. So if you want to get in on that, just make sure you have your money right. Make sure you have your calendar set for the 15th. Let me know, and I will see you guys next week. Students, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care and have a safe trading week, guys. See you guys.